The American Way. An Apocalyptic Fairy Tale. By Chucky H. Sanson, a Playtrite recording of the forthcoming novel. Level 3, The Shitstorm Cometh. One day, in a lull between her slate of Freedom Savage customers, Kitten saw something different through the hole in the wall. A trail of dust on the horizon. Maybe a death storm. Maybe World War Part Ocho. Or maybe, just maybe, it was deliverance. Through the billboard hole, the pale brown smear trembled against the dead sky. It was too thick for wind, too slow for war. It had shape, and it was coming closer. Kitten thought about going to investigate, but she couldn't. The outside was out of bounds. No go. The Satanopids would eat bang her into some unholy gender cult before her chrome toe even hit the ground. Everyone knew that. So instead, she played with Roomba. It whirled in drunken circles until the filter clogged, then died in the middle of the floor like a confused turtle. Dumb as a bricked iPhone, but she loved it anyway. She knew it was silly, but the dirty little thing made her feel less alone. Level 3, The Shitstorm Cometh. One day, in a lull between her slate of Freedom Savage customers, Kitten saw something different through the hole in the wall. A trail of dust on the horizon. Maybe a death storm. Maybe World War Part Ocho. Or maybe, just maybe, it was deliverance. Through the billboard hole, the pale brown smear trembled against the dead sky. It was too thick for wind, too slow for war. It had shape, and it was coming closer. Kitten thought about going to investigate, but she couldn't. The outside was out of bounds. No go. The Satanopids would eat bang her into some unholy gender cult before her chrome toe even hit the ground. Everyone knew that. So instead, she played with Roomba. It whirled in drunken circles until the filter clogged, then died in the middle of the floor like a confused turtle. Dumb as a bricked iPhone, but she loved it anyway. She knew it was silly, but the dirty little thing made her feel less alone. Curling up with the goofy robot, she closed her eyes and dreamed of America. Again. The America before the end. Before the fall. When capitalism still wore its Sunday suit and smiled through its teeth like a prom king holding a shotgun in one hand and a Molotov in the other. In the before times, the antebellum WW7, Our Lady of the Bleeding Thigh was a franchise military church in an actual city, San Frangelos, and it stood tall, a symbol of promise, of capitalism, of society. Then came the selfie sticks and baseball bats, Apple Watches and murder squads. They scrawled insane manifestos in bodily fluids, dead pixels, and pure uncut pedo rage. The traditional church wasn't shut down so much as America'd to death by every walking asshole with a YouTube channel, an AR-15, and a revolution hard-on. After that, the only legal faith was Ameritheism. God is country. Country is God. No Bible or Constitution reading necessary. Then came the partisan bombs. Red and blue and rainbow, straight pride and woke, Christ-approved and billionaire branded. Each one live-streaming its detonation in glorious 15G. Genocide with a frowny emoji on the side. Judgment Day for clicks. Every new attack stripped another layer off the body politic, until there was nothing left but raw ideology, scorched blood, and third-degree fascism. And beneath all that, nothing sacred. Just the raw meat of empire, twitching on a golden flagpole. Yet Kitten still dreamed of it. America. Like a moth might dream of the flame. Like a product dreaming of the shelf. Like a bullet dreams of the gun. WW7 only lasted 12 seconds, but that was enough. It was the end of everything that had ever been hoped and dreamed. World Wars 1 through 6 were terrible, awful, cruel, blood-drenched affairs, but they were still wars. WW7 was something different. WW7 was the ultimate billionaire autocrat punchline. Money was canceled. People regressed to branded savagery. Nothing green grew anymore, and no one knew why, or cared. Dry fissures carved the landscape like maps to nowhere. Inedible pink protein dust filled the air. Funeral pyres blotted out the sun. Microplastic snow drifted into dunes, burying history. Above, the heavens loomed colorless and drained. It was as if the sky itself had been bled dry by hungry nightmare below. The only place you could laugh after WW7 was in a tickle church, and there was only one left. One last vestige of the before times in the belly of America. Our Lady of the Bleeding Thigh was a respite from the horror of living, a giggle bunker for the soul. But Kitten didn't know any of this. All she knew was inside, giggle-tricking and little Roomba. Even on the bleakest days when the Smile Church reeked of libertarian grief, Roomba whirred its little idiot heart out, spinning donuts through the brothel like it thought the mistakes of the past could just be swept away. The pokey little vacuum was as clueless as ever. Each time its wheels spun out on a cyber tampon or stuck in a clump of 3D printed pubes, Kitten couldn't help but almost smile. She sighed and touched the thing, gently, like you'd pet a sleeping dog, waiting for the next freedom savage to drop coin on a cheap laugh job. Then the alarms went off. They were different this time. Nothing like the back-to-work klaxons from before. Daddy Wardick stood at the blast doors, his telescope eyes fixed on the swelling horizon, like a knot on a noose. Kitten joined him, clutching Roomba like a teddy bear. Bitchsicle dropped her laser whip. This wasn't a drill. Something was coming. A moan rolled across the wastes, long and low, like a church bell thundered through a cursed pipe organ. There, Daddy Wardick pointed. What are they? Kitten screamed. Satanopids, girl. He shook his head. Ain't your lungs been listening in church? Are you sure they're satanopeds? They satanic. They evil. They eat young uns. What else could they be? Daddy snapped. Wait, did you actually see them eat babies? Gone, girl. We ain't got time for questions and words and such, baby. We gots to think of the Chileans. A seething mob of men approached like a flood of flesh. A brown tsunami of bodies smeared in shit and belief, marching under a makeshift flag stitched together from different shades of human flesh. A small group of crouched things pray and speak in tongues around a primitive great seal clawed into the dust, like witches around a pentacle. At the center of the arcane circle, they conjure a president from a human pyramid of screaming zealots. He rose, not born or elected, but ejected, the Armageddon King, stitched from towering national debt and disappearing campaign promises. His skin was still wet from the electoral placenta, the flesh bags snapping in the wind behind him. This President King casts black fiscal curses, speaks in NYSE tongues, makes wall-building promises in reverse, and chants the ancient impotent words, "Lest we go Pennsylvania way," he wove like a magic spell. "Ef we ain't fit like hell, we ain't got no country left no more." Back in the bleeding thigh, Daddy Wardick spun on his diamond heel, wild-eyed and blazing. "The Christ-apocalypse is upon us, ladies," he bellowed. "The Satanopid wave is nigh." The gobbling Satanopeds, those child-hungry infernonauts of the outside, their spreading storm was at the gates of the humble little tickle house. Hundreds? Thousands? Millions? The lefty horde clawed and pounded at the billboard walls with bloody, trembling knuckles, beating out a rhythm of woke doom, like hammers on war drums, like judgment in gluten-free meat. Kitten couldn't see them, but she knew they were there. They had to be. Daddy Wardick told her they were. Hungry for your babies, horny for your guns, killing your freedoms until you got nuns, they chanted like a practice script, a cruel choir of outside. Bitchsicle narrowed her eyes and scanned the stable. "But we ain't got no babies in here," she said slowly. "Right, ladies?" Silence. No one spoke, especially not Kitten. The attack from the Satanopid horde rattled through everyone's chests. "This is it, bitches, the big one. It's us or them." Bitchsicle was more than ready to fight the coming Satanopid apocalypse. She sprinted to the buried airplane hangar, heels clacking on concrete, to activate the preliminary defenses. Then it was off to fetch the clawhammer guns, flaming F-350s, and chainsaw bayonets. Taxes, axes, or asses, baby. No one giggles for free, Daddy Wardick roared, clutching his vintage bubblegum pink Cold War M16 with matching serial numbers and all. "I've been waiting to run up this motherfucker for years," he hissed, pressing a velvet hand to a section of billboard wall corresponding to Jesus's bulge. Click. A hidden hatch irised open at the Suave Savior swimsuit area. From the superstructure of the laughingstock, a massive red button telescoped out with a whisper of steam. It was Daddy's secret ace in the hole, the one dunk he'd been saving his whole life for. The bottomless military toilet had collected soldier dookie for hundreds of years. The former latrine was filled with oceans of the former country's bravest poop. It was like a munitions depot of all the worst ammo for the most terrible weapon ever conceived, and he was ready to pull the flusher. He slammed his gloved fist on the button and activated the FP MERD patented shitstorm generator. Powered by an ancient iPhone 8 and a secret data cable to Washington, GA, it was somehow spliced into the last active Twitter account, somehow still tweeting through 500,000 proxies. It blasted out 404 tweets per second, building like a rolling snowball. The effect was immediate on the surrounding reserves of ancient human waste. Hidden duty reservoirs beneath the surface boiled. Massive underground crap retaining walls burst. A poo volcano formed in the Tickle Church, and a spinning funnel appeared. The maelstrom of bullshit was unleashed. The roof blew off the Horfange in a massive stinking explosion. The chocolate cyclone spun into the sky. Roomba jumped out of Kitten's arms and hid under the cold fusion toaster oven. She got down on all fours, coaxing the stubborn vacuum out of its hiding spot. "Don't leave me. You're all I got." She couldn't lose Roomba now. It was her only security, her only real hope in a world of patriotic despair. Above the cursed earth, the sludge storm went full-on chocolate cyclone, swirling into the hole in the sky like a double flusher. Maybe a triple. But it wasn't the bioslurry hitting the fan. It was far worse. It was the bodies in the bioslurry hitting the bleeding thigh. Hundreds of what must have been Satanopedes were caught up in the mass flushing event, drowning in the flying caca. Shitty science zealots. Dookie-spattered woke blokes, the poopy leftists. All of them mixed into the feces and thrown into a blender as big as the sky. Something was strange, though. Kitten noticed the Satanopids looked a lot like normal shit-stained freedom savages. Gaunt, loser freedom savages, just like her daily customers. Could Daddy Wardix be wrong about the outside? Maybe he was just as ignorant about the outside as she was. She didn't have time to worry about that now. The latrine waterspout combined with the seeming Satanoped attack turned the storm into a dank supercell of shitty ideas and crashing into the dilapidated trickle church like a living wave of human flesh. The storm battered the bleeding thigh like an electrocuted boxer, hit after shocking hit. Gaunt bones clacked against the tar paper walls like a flurry of hooks. Raging storms of poo swirled around the lone sex church like a savage army, and everything went up like a reverse meteor impact. Billboard walls folded in. The floorboards flapped into the sky. The building trembled into a convulsion. Our Lady of the Bleeding Thigh was slurped from the wasteland like a golf ball through a garden hose. The soil on the now empty lot gurgled, the air bent, and the earth flushed itself like a final guilty toilet. It all spiraled upward into the waiting mouth of a scatological god. Kitten and Roomba were sucked up too. They flew into the middle of the brown tempest, into the diarrhea eye. She held on to the little vacuum tight, as the only life she'd ever known was destroyed in a fake attack and a real shitstorm. But what else was new? Far away on a rocky hill, a blacked-out 1970s muscle car hissed across carbonized grass. Radioactive dust curled around its tires. It growls low, glass packs rattling and spitting under the blistered black sun. The shadow driver, sporting a crumpled cowboy hat, kills the engine, steps out, and leans against the fender. He wears some sort of faded cape, a pink, washed-out blue and a piss-yellow sheet that probably used to be chalk white. From a half-mile away, he scans the obliterated smile brothel and the ensuing fecal storm through rose-glass perspective goggles. The man watches the bleeding thigh get vacuumed up, piece by holy piece into the poo-brown sky. He waits for the shit and the girl to settle. Okay, everyone, thanks for kicking ass through the American way. Remember, this was just a taste. If you made it this far, you probably already know, this story isn't safe. It's not sanitized for platforms. It's too raw for Substack, too volatile for Royal Road, too true for Medium. But it's real. And it's only just begun.